Welcome to the Yellowjackets Hive presented by cordcutting.com. I'm Media Melanie here with,
And I'm Emily.
and today we are bringing you an exclusive Yellowjackets video for our new partners at cordcutting.com. Before we get started, be sure that you go and bookmark our new Hive Hub page at cordcutting.com/yellowjackets-hive. Make sure you're not going to miss any of our exclusive content that's coming up. And big thanks to Cord Cutting for being our new partner. We could not be more excited about our new relationship.
Yeah, I'm super excited to keep producing content between seasons.
Yes, and we've got lots of fun stuff planned. So, of course, stay tuned to the Hive Hub page. And without further ado, our topic for today is Coach Ben the new big bad in the wilderness timeline?
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit to explore given the evolution of Coach Ben from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah.
In season 1, of course, he started out at least as the adult, as the authority figure, as somewhat of a voice of reason. And that definitely waned throughout the first season, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even right after he lost his leg, they still were respecting him and listening to him and looking to him for guidance because he's the one that taught them how to shoot a gun. He gave them survival skills because his father taught him how to hunt, so he taught them how to hunt. So they might not even know what to do if it wasn't for him. And
exactly,
if I was a teenager in that situation, I'd be looking to him for guidance, even if he only had one leg. That wouldn't change anything for me. He'd still be the adult in the situation.
Yep, still the adult in the situation. And of course, he had some interesting experiences with these teenage girls in season 1. Him and Misty definitely had some ups and downs, I guess you could say. I mean, she's the one who actually chopped his leg off, which saved his life. So,
yeah,
that was nice. She's also the one that poisoned him. And, that one time when he was sleeping and she walked into the bedroom,
my gosh.
tried to touch his morning wood, which was another awkward type of situation. She also helped him go to the bathroom, of course.
I was just going to bring that up.
Who can forget Bear Down? And then her singing
at Tiffany's.
Oh my God. It brings such new meaning to that Deep Blue Something song. So it was an interesting journey for Coach Ben in season 1. And then by the end of the season, he definitely started losing his power. He lost control over the group, I would say almost all of his power.
Yeah, and I would say that the moment that happened was when Laura Lee decided she wanted to fly the plane, and she woke everybody up and she made that announcement and she told them what she was going to do. And when he told her no, it's too dangerous, she looked right at him and she's like, what are you going to do to stop me? The meekest, quietest, most respectful one out of the whole group says that to him. So if she's not going to listen anymore, what hope do you have for everybody else?
Right. Not much. And of course, as season 2 has gone along, there's been the whole cannibalism situation. And Coach Ben is the only one who's out there not partaking, not buying into the cannibalism, into any of Lottie's stuff. Instead, he's been working on his own thing, right? He's been kind of working on this map, piecing it together with Nat's explorations. He's been having a lot of hallucinations, of course. He's very hungry. I don't even know how he's still alive at this point, but, some suspension of disbelief there. The Paul hallucinations have been quite a thing for him, too. And that was a little bit alarming to see. We thought he was on the brink of death.
Yeah.
He left the cabin, he went to Shit Cliff, and he was going to throw himself off that cliff, but he did not. Yeah. Ironically, Misty was the one that convinced him not to.
She's really the only, even though she did things like poison him, at the same time, she's the only one that really looked out for his well-being. She's the only one that was there helping him. She was taking care of him, nursing him back to health right after he lost his leg. Granted, she did things like trip him at the same time to keep him under her thumb. But still, she was the one taking care of him. And if it wasn't for her, like, I honestly don't see any of those other girls stepping up. Maybe Natalie, but none of the other ones. Like, it seems like they could give two shits, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, definitely. Coach went from Mr. Bearded Dude to clean shaven, and I feel like that's been kind of another evolution of his
Yeah.
that maybe gave him some kind of clarity, where again, he was going to go commit suicide, but then things changed. He figured out Javi bowing to those
Hmm.
symbol trees and went to explore after his conversation with Nat, and of course discovered that there is indeed an underground cave, which is
Yeah.
where he is now hiding out. We see him struggling to start a fire, which we believe is what spawns him to go back to the cabin, where we see him grabbing matches and a rope. We
Yes.
can assume he burned the cabin down, but I will say that not everybody is convinced of that. There's a good part of the fandom that thinks perhaps it was the wilderness that burned down the cabin.
Yeah, because they were like unhappy with the fact, because it was unhappy with the fact that they killed Hobby, that they let Hobby die. They didn't, well, I mean, yeah, they did kill him essentially because they chose not to save him.
Yep.
So, yeah. And I honestly, like, I've been wondering now that Coach has figured out that there is this underground cave underneath this tree and he has that map,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he'll realize that there are other caves under other trees and find those, because Natalie knows where he is now. Like, because she told him which tree Hobby was like bowing to or whatever she said that he did. Um, but if he realizes that there's more than one, what if he goes to another one and those girls might not realize the same thing? Like, they might not make the connection that, like, oh yeah, there's other trees. Granted, they did focus on that one tree. I think it was in the first episode of season 2,
Yep.
where Natalie and Travis are looking for Hobby and she notices the moss and the fact that it's like, it looks like it's warm in that area, I
Melting
guess, if you
snow.
would say.
Yep.
Yeah. And she comments on it and says that's weird. And Travis doesn't really say anything about it. He just kind of ignores her. But Coach Ben was making this map, which they did not grab during the fire.
They did not grab the map during the fire. You know what? That's a really good point. I wasn't even thinking of that. So
Yeah.
he lost it unless he just happened to have packed it with him when he, took off for his new home in the cave. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
before he went to look for the cave, he like copied like a little tiny piece of the map down on another piece of paper. But that was only like one little tiny section of it. And that was a good sized map. I mean,
Oh, it
if
was
I'm
huge.
remembering correctly, they said that they went 7 miles in each direction.
Yep, exactly.
So they covered, I mean, granted, we know that like from the rescue scene that we saw that like they were 600 miles off course or something like that. So 7 miles in each direction in that grand scheme of things isn't really like a lot.
Relatively not a lot. No.
But for being in the middle of winter and trekking through snow, not having the proper like gear or anything, like that's pretty impressive to go that far in every direction. And if I went that far in every direction and I didn't see anything, I would feel really discouraged.
Oh my gosh, so discouraged, especially to go out there that cold every single time and not even
Yeah.
come back with any type of food or anything. It's got to be a disheartening process. And back to the big question of, is Ben the new big bad? What's interesting is, before the fire situation, we have
Mhm.
Natalie saying, "You're a good person, coach. You really don't belong in this place." Natalie knows she's no better than the others for allowing Javi to die, but she's giving Coach Ben this chance to live. So part of the question is Natalie going to give up his location? And to your point, maybe he's going to be in another underground cave, so it won't matter. But I think with the strong relationship between Coach and Natalie, I would be surprised if she gave him up. She does think he's a good person.
Yeah.
But now, with the cabin having burned down, are the other girls going to suspect that it was Coach because he wasn't there,
Yeah, like,
or not?
do they
Do
even
they even
realize
know
that
he's
he
gone?
wasn't there? Yeah, exactly. Like, because it really seemed like nobody was paying any attention to him, like, in this at least the last episode, maybe even episode 8 too, because he wasn't around for any of what happened to Javi.
Nope.
He was gone by that point.
Nope. Maybe they assume he's dead since he's not around. But there is the chance that if Coach did burn the cabin down, the girls could suspect it's him, and he could be next on the list to hunt. We don't know, of course, but we can suspect. And another question is, who's morally worse? Is Coach Ben worse for burning down a cabin with a bunch of cannibalistic teenagers inside? Or are the girls worse for engaging in cannibalism? Now, this meme has been going around, the fuck them kids meme. And you know what? I mean, yes, he is an adult. He's also starving and also has undergone a major trauma. And he's almost trying, in his mind, I think, to do what he thinks is the right thing. Granted, murdering a group of people is maybe not the right thing, but he also is having a hard time watching them digress and spiral so downwardly throughout this whole escalation of the cannibalism.
Yeah. I wondered if, like, when he initially went, like, when we see him outside of the cabin, when Natalie's being, like, crowned their new leader, if when he approached the cabin at first, if he really only had intentions of taking the matches to use himself. But once he saw what was happening and realized that, like, now Natalie is even buying into this, and she's the one that I thought I had on my side that could help me, that he felt like all hope was gone. And he truly didn't know any other, like, option to fix this situation. Not that I think that that's, like, the right thing. Like, I honestly don't know who I think is morally worse.
There's almost no right or wrong in this whole situation, because it's something that the majority of people on this earth and lifetime will never experience. It's such a small subset of people who go through and endure such a major trauma like this. So, to your point, there maybe is no morally right or wrong at this point, because they're not living by the standards of typical society. So
Exactly.
it kind of is what it is. And the fandom's been divided about it. I mean, there's a lot of Coach Ben haters out there. We had this tweet from Laura Boxed, who said, "My mom's thoughts on Coach Ben." And her mom said they need to find him and eat him. There have been a bunch of people on Twitter who've actually blocked Steven Kruger because they are so unhappy with his actions on a fictional show, which I think is kind of hilarious. But I get being a Ben hater too, because of course, we don't want anyone burning down our cabin of Yellowjackets. We love them. But also, they're in kind of deep at this point with the hunting situation. And it's hard to watch for anyone, especially an adult, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, when he approaches the cabin after Shauna butchers Javi's body, like, he is under the impression that they found food. And when he sees those clothes on that chair and he really looks at that table and sees that you can see Javi's freaking head laying there, like, he realized real fast. And like we said, he wasn't there for what happened. So in his mind, like, he's probably thinking that these girls just, like, murdered him for food, like, just straight up killed him, like, sacrificed him.
Right.
Like, and I mean, that would be what I would think too, like, based off of what I've seen from their behavior and the way that they've, like, just, like, they've devolved. Their moral code is, like, disappearing by the day.
Which is interesting because, of course, Nat used to be the moral compass of the group. And we very clearly saw in that interaction between Coach Ben and Natalie that even she knows that she's no longer the moral compass of the group, given what went down with Javi, and her assessment that Coach Ben is a good person. So I don't know. Is he a good person? Or now that he's potentially burned down the cabin, is he the new bad guy in the wilderness timeline? Is he the one that the wilderness is going to target? Are the girls going to also target him? Is he going to make it out of the wilderness? I've also seen some speculation that perhaps the girls end up all getting rescued, the girls and Travis, and Coach Ben is out there hiding in one of his caves and he misses the rescue and he just either maybe dies out there or stays out there indefinitely. And if we're really speculating, Emily, maybe he was the one who sent the postcards.
Yes, I've seen that going around too, which would like be the biggest mind fuck like ever if that was true.
I mean, the wish you were here, it fits. I still don't buy that Jeff mailed the postcards. We know he sent the blackmail
No,
texts, but still
too
not sure about the
sophisticated for
postcard.
Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, the guy who is really worried that he's never going to be able to Google himself again. Love him, by the way. Warren Cole is amazing. And Coach Ben as a character is amazing too. I mean, Steven Kruger's done an
He
excellent
was
job with
so good.
him, and he really has just changed so much from season 1 to
Yeah.
season 2, and he's devolving in his own way as well. I mean, a lot of it is a product of hunger. He is
Yes, absolutely.
starving.
I think my favorite scene of him this whole season was when they ate Jackie and he walked back into the cabin and you just see that look of pure fear and terror in his face. Like it was he played it so well. Like his facial expression, his body movements, like that is if I were in that situation, I feel like the way that he reacted would be the way that I would react
Oh,
to seeing what
absolutely.
he was seeing. Yeah.
100%. 100%. The thing that really gets me is the whole cave situation. I mean,
Yeah.
is he going to stay in the cave? Are there more caves? Is Nat going to give up his cave location? So many cave related questions.
Yeah, and now that the cabin is gone, like, are the girls gonna live in these caves or are they gonna go back to the plane? Like, what are they gonna do? Like, they no longer have shelter. And since Coach Ben took the matches, they don't even have a way to start a fire.
Nope. They sure do not. I don't believe they have a flint. I mean, this is not like Survivor. They don't just give you a flint to
Natalie
start your
had a
fire.
lighter when they first got out there, but I'm assuming by that point that lighter's probably out of lighter fluid.
Probably no fluid left. I think that's
Yeah,
a safe bet. And just circling back again, I just keep going back to the fact, will Nat give him up or not? I
yeah,
loved their relationship. I mean, Nat was the first one that, realized Coach Ben was gay since he wasn't
yes.
looking at their boobs and stuff. And he told her about Paul. Of course, we got to see Paul in 4 episodes in season 2, played by Francois Arnaud. And that was really cool. It gave a little bit more background into Coach Ben's story, and I do think at heart he's a good person. He was
I
trying
do
his very
too.
best out there to keep the girls in line, and these actions though of potentially burning down the cabin, which I do think he burned down the cabin. I'm not one of the
I
ones who
do
thinks it's the
too.
wilderness. Um,
No.
does this make
Somebody
him the worst out there?
somebody else also said on some social media forum, I can't remember which one, but they said if it wasn't Ben, what if it was someone else that's out there? Like, what if there's another group of people out there that like we haven't seen? But
Javi's friends. There's maybe Javi's friend, which we thought was
that
maybe Fugue Ty, but maybe then it is somebody else. But who?
that's just a little bit too like losty for me. And I feel like they won't take it in that direction. I really don't see that happening. Like yeah, I've seen some people say maybe Dark Ty started the fire, but
But she was
how would
inside the
she
cabin.
exactly? And those doors were stuck. They weren't opening. I don't know if they were actually blocked because I read that wood actually swells when it gets warm. So it's possible that the
Oh.
doors were just jammed from like that natural thing happening because they were warm.
That could be. I don't know that the rope he had would have been enough rope to
Exactly.
successfully block them from being able to get out, so much so that it required an axe, in fact. So,
But I mean, he just made himself like their villain. Like they are now going to look at him as the bad guy. Like they're going to look at him as more of a bad guy than they look at themselves as a bad guy. Because I mean, he destroyed their shelter. Like that's kind of fucked up to do.
it is. It's kind of a big deal. It goes along with this whole "fuck them kids" attitude. But really, we'd like to know, what do you guys think? Do you think Coach Ben burned the cabin down? If so, does this make him the worst person in the wilderness timeline? Is he the new big bad out there? I can't wait to see where season 3 picks up to
I
determine
know.
exactly how it's going to go down, how much time has passed, if he's still alive, does he make it out of season 3? As with everything with Yellowjackets, so many questions. Hopefully, we will get some answers once season 3 drops. But in the meantime, we will keep on speculating.
For sure.
Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. This episode is, of course, exclusive for cordcutting.com. Thank you to Stephen and Sherry over there for the partnership. We appreciate it. And be sure to bookmark our page, cordcutting.com/yellowjackets-hive.
Yes, and we will be back with new content soon.
Yes, we will. We'll see you guys very soon.
Yes, so until we spill again.